Patricia Riley speaking. Good afternoon, good morning. Welcome to the investment meeting of the Teachers Retirement Board for October 5th, 2023. I'll start by calling the roll. Brian Berge.
Actually, Kevin Lee, representing Mayor Adams.
Thomas Brown.
Good morning, Patricia. Present.
Gregory Faulkner. Anthony Giordano. Neither. Alice Hirsch.
Present, representing Controller Brad Lander.
David Kazansky. David Kazansky. Oh,
It's here. And then we must have just stepped out.
Victoria Lee.
Present.
We'll be here.
Okay, well, I'll mark him as here.
He's here.
Okay, so we have a quorum, so I'll turn it over to you, the chair.
Good morning, everyone. Tom Brown speaking. The first agenda item, Passport Funds August 2023 Performance Review. And that's going to be Rokaton and Amanda. Let the record show that. Sorry about that. David is here.
Okay,
Amanda Janice, just give us a second while I pull up the August performance report. Recording in progress.
Why don't you start?
Okay. So for the month of August, markets were slightly negative across asset classes. For the passport funds, the diversified equity fund, where the bulk of your assets sit today, a little shy of 17 billion. The return for the month of August was negative 2.5%. Within that fund, the U.S. equity option, the U.S. equity component fared better than the non-U.S. equities. Within non-U.S. equities, China was particularly challenged during August. Year to date through the end of 8/31, that the diversified equity fund is still in positive territory, up over 16% on a net of fees basis. Looking down the page, you can see your U.S. equity funds, including the index fund, down around 1.9% for the month of August, although positive 18% year to date through the end of 8/31. And the international equity, similar to within the diversified equity fund, down around 4% for the month of August. Within U.S. equities, we did see a negative month for tech. It was a little bit of a reversal from what we've seen certainly in the first half of the year, as tech has been driving a lot of the U.S. equity market returns. But some of your more growth-oriented funds, like the Sustainable Equity Fund, do reflect the strength of the tech sector and growth stocks in general over the year-to-date period, with the strongest results among the passport funds at over 29% year-to-date through the end of August. I'll pause there and see if there's any questions on August results.
Questions for Amanda? Thank you, Amanda. Next, we go to the September 2023 market performance update. It's also Rokaton. We have Devin. Just say your name for this time.
Thank you, Tom. Devin Alexander.
Thank you.
So for the month of September, investors did have a bit of a headwind as we saw wavering consumer confidence, saw higher oil prices, and we also saw potential government shutdown. That being said, we did see that the global market composite was down by 4.41%, although it was up by 1.75% calendar year to date. The hybrid benchmark was also down by 4.44%. The best performer for the month of September was the Balance Fund. That was only down by 1.52%. On the international front, the International Equity Fund, International Composite Benchmark was down by 3.31%. And the Sustainable Equity Fund fared far worse than the rest, down by over 6%. So overall, for the month of September, we saw losses across all major asset classes. However, calendar year to date still remain positive. I'll pause here for any questions.
Any questions for Devin? Thank you, Devin. Appreciate it. Next on the agenda, we have the tentative public agenda, strategic asset allocation discussion, and I guess we go to Steve and perhaps Mike.
But today, the intent was just to revisit the discussion that we had at last month's meeting. There were a number of follow-ups, which I understand we're still working on with respect to procurement and staffing questions, also the treatment of new asset classes as it relates to the basket. So there's still more work to be done, more conversations to be had with the legal group.
Particularly on the CPA strategy.
Particularly, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
Yep, that's okay.
I mean, burden you with that. No, we've actually been working on it with our legal folks. We still have some open issues, as Michael said, around procurement. There's some questions of staffing, where this fits in, and how we would actually oversee the program. And then again, to Mike's point, the question as to whether we would gross up the numbers to have a more, I'd say, negative or dramatic impact on the basket clause. So we have some open issues. We're hoping to be able to come back next month with some firm, definitive issues in terms answers in terms of our procurement process, exactly around the CTAs in particular.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
That was really what covers it.
Any other suggestions or questions from?
Yeah, I'd just like to ask that, if by next month, there seems to be no kind of set idea on CTAs, that I think it would behoove us to move forward, with a different asset allocation so that we can get our pacing plans and everything going.
I agree.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's the right approach.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Anything else about strategic asset allocations?
Would you mind just spending a moment to explain the rationale why convertibles are not included as an asset class for the strategic asset allocation?
Sure. So as part of the analysis, I'd like to think we cast a fairly wide net in terms of looking at a variety of different asset classes. Not only those that are part of the portfolio today, but also ideas that are not part of the portfolio, other asset classes where large institutional investors can allocate. And we did look at many, including convertibles. So that was certainly a part of the broad opportunities that we looked at when we were constructing portfolios. And we do think that convertibles can play a role in a diversified portfolio. However, we didn't, as part of this analysis and the recommendations, as you saw, include that in the ultimate recommendation.
Yep.
Thank you, Michael. Any more questions for Steve or Mike? I guess let the record show that Anthony Giordano has arrived. Patricia will put him as.
Excuse me?
Representing Greg Walton.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We go now, well, I think that's everything for the public agenda. Do I hear a motion to go into the executive session?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Great. Any discussion? All those in favor of going into the executive session, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. We are now in executive session. And we're now back in public session. Let us know when we're ready to go, Liz. Great, we're now back in public session. Welcome, everyone. We'll have a readout from Ron Swingle.
Thanks. This is Ron Swingle speaking. For the executive agenda of passport funds, there were two manager updates. for the executive agenda of the pension fund. There was preliminary performance data that was discussed. There was a revised commitment to a real estate investment, consensus was reached. There was a real estate presentation, consensus was reached. There was an alternative credit presentation, consensus was reached. And there were 2 private equity presentations and consensus was reached on both.
Thank you, Ron. Our business over for today.
Point of order.
Questions?
Mr. Chair, I would just like to say on the record, a happy birthday.
Thank you.
to
Thank you.
Chairman Brown, who
Thank you.
has been leading us so effectively. So
Thank you.
happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
At least compliment on this, my.
Much appreciated. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And do I hear a second? Second. Any questions? Any discussions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And all those against, please say nay. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.